Trust is the currency of successful change. Without it, even the most strategic initiatives face resistance, skepticism, and slow adoption. With it, transformation accelerates as people engage constructively rather than defensively. Transparency, honest communication about AI capabilities, limitations, plans, and uncertainties is one of the most powerful trust building tools available to leaders. Yet many leaders default to controlled messaging that protects information rather than sharing it, mistakenly believing this creates stability. This lesson explores how strategic transparency builds trust and accelerates AI transformation. The key is strategic transparency. When leaders aren't transparent, people fill information gaps with speculation, usually worse than reality. Lack of transparency about AI plans breeds rumors. They're using AI to justify layoffs. Leadership doesn't really understand this technology. They're hiding how much this is going to change things. These speculations create anxiety and resistance that transparent communication could prevent. Transparency doesn't mean sharing everything indiscriminately. It means being intentionally open about information that affects people, acknowledging uncertainties honestly, and creating channels for genuine dialogue. Strategic transparency focuses on several key areas: AI capabilities and limitations. Be honest about what AI can and cannot do. Non-transparent, AI will revolutionize how we work. Transparent, AI will automate routine data processing tasks exceptionally well. It will struggle with ambiguous situations requiring judgment. It will make mistakes, especially initially as it learns our specific context. Our goal is leveraging what it does well while maintaining human oversight for what it doesn't. Here you're being honest about things they could find out elsewhere anyway. This honesty sets realistic expectations and builds credibility. Their implementation plans and timeline. Share what you know about rollout plans, even when details aren't finalized. Non-transparent is we'll let you know when we're ready to implement. Transparent, we're planning to pilot AI tools with the marketing team in Q2, gather feedback and lessons learned, then expand to sales and operations in Q3. This timeline might shift based on what we learn in the pilot, and we'll keep you updated as plans evolve. This transparency helps people prepare mentally and practically for change. There's the decision-making process. Explain how AI-related decisions are being made. Non-transparent, leadership has decided to implement these AI systems. Transparent, we evaluated 5 AI solutions based on capabilities, cost, integration with existing systems, and vendor reliability. We involved team leads from each affected department in evaluation. We selected the solution because it best meets our specific needs for customer data analyses while integrating with our current CRM. Here's the detailed comparison if you want to review our rationale. Understanding how decisions are made builds confidence in leadership judgment. Key point there: don't tell them that you involved team leads from each affected department in evaluation if you didn't. People in that department will notice. This happens regularly. Authenticity is what prevents your effort from being undermined. Resource allocation. Be clear about investments in AI and in supporting people through transition. Non-transparent, we're investing in AI capabilities. Transparent, we're allocating $500,000 to AI tools and infrastructure, and $200,000 to training, support, and change management. We believe the people investment is as important as the technology investment, and we're backing that belief with resources. This transparency demonstrates commitment to supporting people, not just implementing technology. For impact on roles, be honest about how AI will change work. Non-transparent, don't worry, your job is safe. Transparent, AI will automate the data entry aspects of your role, about 30% of current work time. We're investing in training so you can focus more on analyses and strategic recommendations, work that creates more value and is typically more professionally satisfying. Your role is evolving, not disappearing. Here's specifically how. Honest transparency about changes, combined with clear support plans, reduces anxiety more than vague reassurances. And for what you don't know know yet. Transparency includes admitting uncertainty. Non-transparent. We have a complete plan for AI integration. Transparent. We have a clear direction and initial plan. We don't yet know exactly how quickly people will adapt, what unexpected challenges we'll encounter, or precisely how roles will evolve long-term. We'll learn together as we implement, and we'll adjust based on what we discover. Acknowledging uncertainty demonstrates realistic confidence rather than false certainty that breeds cynicism when reality differs from promises. Physicist and Nobel laureate Richard Feynman said, "I would rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned." The philosopher Voltaire said, "Doubt is not a pleasant condition, but certainty is absurd." Logician Bertrand Russell said, "The whole problem with the world is that fools and fanatics are always so certain of themselves, and wiser people so full of doubts." And finally, perfection or total predictability is an illusion, as illustrated by business theorist Peter Drucker, who said people who don't take risks generally make about 2 big mistakes a year. People who do take risks generally make about 2 big mistakes a year. Accepting uncertainty is integral to leadership and realistic confidence. Now, transparency isn't just about what you share, it's about how you share it. Proactive communication is important. Don't wait for people to ask. Share information before speculation fills that vacuum. Example, I want to update you on AI implementation plans before you hear rumors or speculation. Here's what we know, what we're planning, and what we're still figuring out. Proactive transparency beats reactive damage control. Different people prefer different communication channels. Use multiple approaches. All hands meetings for major updates and Q&A. Written summaries people can reference. Small group discussions for deeper dialogue. One-on-ones for individual concerns. And open door availability for questions that arise. And the two-way dialogue as opposed to the one-way. True transparency includes listening, not just broadcasting. Create genuine opportunities for questions, concerns, and feedback. Respond substantively, even when you can't resolve every concern. Example, there are some important questions in the organization people have raised that we don't have complete answers to yet. Here's what we do know, here's what we're working to figure out, and we'll update you as we learn more. Consistent messaging. Inconsistent messages from different leaders destroy credibility quickly. Have a united front. Ensure the leadership team is aligned on what's being communicated about AI plans. Inconsistency makes people question whether leaders know what they're doing. And follow through. Transparency requires following through on commitments. If you say you'll provide training by a certain date, provide it. If you commit to regular updates, deliver them. If you promise to address concerns, address them. Failed commitments undermine trust faster than lack of transparency does. Transparency gets tested when questions are difficult. Will AI eliminate jobs? The non-transparent response is no, absolutely not. The transparent response, AI will automate specific tasks, not eliminate entire roles. Our goal is evolving roles toward higher value work, not reducing headcount. If business needs change for reasons unrelated to AI, we'll communicate that separately and honestly. But AI implementation itself is not a headcount reduction strategy. It's a capability enhancement strategy. This honestly acknowledges complexity without creating panic. What if we invest heavily in AI and it fails? Non-transparent reply, it won't fail. This is proven technology. I saw a documentary once where a supposed intellectual was on television proclaiming that AI is never wrong. You can imagine the kind of response that got. The transparent result to the question of what if we invest heavily in AI and it fails might be all technology investments carry risk. We're mitigating that risk by starting with pilot programs, learning before scaling, and choosing proven solutions from reliable vendors. Some specific implementations might not work perfectly initially. That's why we're piloting and adjusting. The bigger risk is not building AI capabilities while competitors do. This acknowledges risk while explaining mitigation strategy. And for the question, how do we know leadership really understands AI? Non-transparent response, of course we understand it. The transparent response. We're learning about AI just like everyone else. We've invested in education for the leadership team. We're working with expert advisors, and we're asking a lot of questions. We don't need to be AI experts. We need to understand enough to make strategic decisions and ask the right questions. And we're building that understanding intentionally. This humility builds more credibility than claims of complete expertise. For the question, what if I can't adapt to working with AI? The non-transparent response would be everything will be fine, everyone will be fine. The transparent response, learning to work with AI will take time and effort. We are providing comprehensive training and support. Most people adapt successfully when given proper support and reasonable timeframes. If you're struggling despite support, we'll work with you individually to find the right path forward. We're committing to helping people succeed, not setting anyone up to fail. This combines reassurance with realistic acknowledgement of challenge. Transparency matters especially when things don't go as planned. When implementation has problems, non-transparent would be downplay or hide problems, hoping to fix them before people notice. Transparent. The AI tool rollout last week had technical issues that made it frustrating to use. We know that was a poor experience. Here's what went wrong, here's what we're doing to fix it, and here's the revised timeline. We appreciate your patience as we work through these challenges. Acknowledging problems honestly maintains trust. Hiding them destroys it when they inevitably surface. And when you need to change direction, non-transparent would be quietly shift course without explaining why previous plans changed. Transparent would be we've decided to adjust our AI implementation approach based on what we've learned in the pilot. Initially, we planned to roll out across all teams simultaneously. The pilot showed that's too disruptive. People need more transition time. We're shifting to phased rollout. This means slower overall implementation, but higher quality adoption. Explaining course corrections demonstrates learning and adaptation, not indecision. And when results disappoint, non-transparent is focusing only on successes and ignoring the underperforming initiatives. Transparent. We've projected 40% time savings from AI automation in customer service. Actual savings have been closer to 25%. The gap comes from integration challenges we did not fully anticipate. We're addressing those issues, and we expect to reach our target, but it's taking longer than initially projected. Honest performance reporting maintains credibility for future projections. Now, it's so important to note that strategic transparency does not mean sharing everything indiscriminately. Some information legitimately should remain confidential. Competitive strategy details, personnel matters, sensitive vendor negotiations, or preliminary plans not yet finalized. The key is being transparent about boundaries. I can't share details about vendor negotiations while they're ongoing, but I can tell you we're evaluating 3 solutions and expect to make a decision by end of month. I'll share full details once contracts are signed. Now, this is more of a response if someone asks you one of those inappropriate questions. Without the question, you might just proactively say, we're evaluating 3 solutions and expect to make a decision by end of next month. We will share full details once contracts are signed, if that's part of an announcement or communication going out. But this acknowledges the boundary while providing what transparency is appropriate. Transparency from leadership creates permission for transparency throughout the organization. Model transparent communication. When you openly acknowledge what you don't know, admit mistakes, and share decision-making rationale, create culture where others feel safe doing the same. Reward transparent feedback. When people share concerns or problems transparently, respond constructively rather than defensively. This reinforces that transparency is valued, not punished. When your employees are transparent, it makes it much easier for you to reflexively make changes and pivot directions when they're needed, as identified by real experiences by boots on the ground. And this can create an avenue for accelerated success and growth. So create safe channels. Some people prefer raising concerns privately. Ensure confidential channels exist alongside public ones. You might say you can share feedback in team meetings, through anonymous surveys, or in one-on-one conversations. Whatever feels most comfortable, all input is valued regardless of the channel. And share the lessons from failure. When AI experiments don't work, Share what you learned transparently. This creates psychological safety for continued experimentation, but not only that, it helps reduce the amount of time wasted when people are coming up with ideas that have already been tried. You might say, this approach didn't work as expected. Here's what we learned and how we're adjusting. Experiments sometimes fail. That's how we learn what works. You're enabling a larger growth pattern within your organization this way. Organizations with transparent leadership during AI transformation often outperform less transparent competitors. Transparent communication accelerates problem identification. People raise issues early rather than hiding them. It improves decision quality. Leadership hears diverse perspectives rather than filtered information. It increases adoption speed. People engage with change. They understand rather than resisting change imposed mysteriously. Transparency isn't just ethically right, it's strategically smart. So how do you measure transparency effectiveness? How do you know if you're being appropriately transparent? Are the rumors minimal? If speculation and rumors are more the exception than the norm, transparency is likely sufficient. Rampant rumors signal information gaps. Do people ask questions directly? If people bring concerns and questions to leadership rather than just gossiping among themselves, the transparency culture is working. Is feedback constructive? If feedback focuses on substantive issues rather than complaints about being kept in the dark, then it is more likely your communication is adequate. Do people trust leadership's word? If commitments and predictions are generally believed rather than met with cynicism, credibility is strong. Is there follow-through? If transparency commitments, regular updates, answered questions, addressed concerns are consistently fulfilled, trust builds. Effective transparency requires vulnerability, admitting uncertainty, acknowledging mistakes, and sharing challenges. This vulnerability is not weakness. It's a strength that builds trust more effectively than projecting infallibility. You say, I don't know yet, but here's how we'll figure it out. People respect honest uncertainty over false confidence. When you admit that didn't work as planned, here's what we learned. People see adaptability rather than failure. Leaders who are transparently human while maintaining clear direction and commitment build deeper trust than those who project flawless certainty. Finally, let's review some specific practices for building transparency. Regular State of AI updates. Provide consistent updates on AI implementation progress, challenges, and learning, even when there's no major news to announce. Regular communication prevents information vacuums. Open Q&A sessions. Create regular forums where people can ask any questions about AI plans and get direct answers. No question is off limits. Decision documentation. Document major AI decisions. What was decided, why, what alternatives were considered, what factors influenced the choice. Make this available for anyone interested. Transparent metrics. Share AI implementation metrics, adoption rates, performance outcomes, and user satisfaction scores. Transparency about results builds credibility. And learning logs. Maintain and share logs of what you're learning about AI implementation, successes, challenges, surprises, and adaptations. This demonstrates continuous learning and creates knowledge bases for the organization. Transparency always matters, but it's especially critical during major changes, when significant AI initiatives launch or roles change substantially, during challenges or failures, when things don't work as planned, through uncertainty, when the future is unclear and speculation might fill information gaps, when there is concern or anxiety, when people are worried or anxious about AI impact, for decision points, when major choices are being made that affect many people. These moments test transparency commitment. How you communicate during difficulty determines whether trust strengthens or erodes. Transparency builds trust that accelerates AI transformation. It reduces resistance, improves decision quality, and creates culture where people engage honestly with challenges and opportunities. In our final lesson of this section, we'll explore how to motivate teams through technological transitions, maintaining momentum, addressing resistance, and building enthusiasm for AI-enhanced work. You have the framework for communicating with transparency. Now let's ensure you can translate that transparency into sustained motivation that drives successful transformation.